work can be a place of shame. Work can be a place that breaks our heart. Work can be a place where we compare ourselves with others. Yeah. But it can also be the place where we heal both our world and ourselves, yeah, where we bring together our avocation and our vocation, where we bring together love and need, uh, and where we can bring play together as mortal stakes. Yeah. So this lovely bringing together of avocation and vocation. Avocation, something to which you're called. Yeah. A vocation is a calling. And in some ways, my vocation is what I call to me. I love carpentry, therefore I'm going to call all these power tools to me or any kind of, I'm going to call a bench to me. I'm going to call a cabinet into incarnation. I'm going to make something, yeah, out of beautiful wood. Yeah. It's my idea. It's my love. Yeah. Avocation is what lies beyond that. It's how you're called, actually. You may begin thinking you're just making a cabinet for its own sake. Yeah. Only years later, as you've made half a dozen cabinets and you've seen them in other people's houses, do you realize furniture, chairs, tables, they occupy an almost mythic place in a familial life. Yeah. You're not just making a chair, you're not just making a table, you're not just making a dresser or a cabinet, you're actually participating in others' lives. Yeah. And you're bequeathing something that will remain in the memory of other people. We set up companies at the beginning and we think, oh, I'm doing this to be successful, and I'm hiring other people in order to make me successful and to get this work out in the world. And you tend to see when you first start in a career that other people are actually just highly paid extras in your career drama, and they've been bussed in at great expense so that you can take a path to glory. It's only years later you might, sitting in an airplane seat, as I asked myself once, what if actually this has been there, this work you attracted people into has been there to provide for all of these families, yeah, just as much as it's been there to provide for you. It's provided these meaning for so many other lives. Yeah. Your avocation is what calls you beyond yourself in your work, yeah, and is still calling you beyond yourself. I still feel I'm at an edge and a horizon of discovery, of finding out what this whole poetic path is really about. But it doesn't matter what we do, there's always a greater context. There's always something larger. And there's that wonderful old, probably apocryphal story, but it could just as well be true, of two quarry makers who are carving great blocks of stone in this quarry. And they both get kind of sad and depressed at the monotony of the days. Yeah. And then one of them goes off and says, I'm leaving this, I'm going off on pilgrimage. And the other fellow says, where are you going? I'm going off to Paris, yeah, to Santiago de Compostela. I'm going to see something and see things that'll take me out of myself. Yeah. So one of them stays in the quarry, carrying on, disgruntled that he's lost his helper and his workmate, and the other one goes off and then stands in front of the cathedral of Notre Dame in Paris, and is totally overwhelmed, not only by what he's seeing, but by what he's been a part of. He can see the masons' marks in the stones. They've come from quarries just like his. And so after he spent a good time away, he goes back to the quarry. But this time, for many months afterwards, he's whistling and happy while he works. And the other man asks him, of course, how come you've come back so happy in your work? He said, now I know what what we're a part of. I know what we're contributing to. Yeah. It makes a difference. It makes a difference. Yeah. Yield who will to their separation. Great question to ask ourselves. How much is my work creating a kind of separation? Who am I in my work? Who am I practicing at becoming in my work? By the way, I am in my work because in today's world, work tends to overwhelm the rest of our existence. That's the person I'm most practicing at being. The person that I undo to become at the weekend becomes the minority report inside me. And eventually you start to see the part of you that you're uncovering at the weekend actually as the enemy of your way forward instead of the essence of yourself. Yeah. So a really sobering question to ask yourself is, in my work, by the way I am on the phone, in the meeting room, in the way I actually put things together, in my mind or on paper, who am I practicing at becoming? Do I want to become that person I'm practicing at becoming? Who would I like to practice to become? So this is where we have to get our head up from our desk. This is where we have to look over the horizon of how we've defined our work, how we've defined the world in which our work takes place, yeah, and risk ourselves a bit, push ourselves, yeah, start to create a different kind of conversation, but yield who will to their separation. My object in living is to unite my avocation and my vocation, as my two eyes make one in sight. Look through them both at the same time. What I'm calling to me, what I'm calling to myself, what's calling to me. That's a real conversation where those two meet. Yeah. It's at that conversational edge where we actually can, by looking with two eyes, we create dimensionality. If you try to stop a baseball with one eye closed, you're likely to stop it with a part of your body other than your hand. Yeah. You open two eyes, you can grant dimensionality to the world. Well, of course, we have more faculties than just our two eyes. The more faculties you can bring to bear, your imagination, your daydreaming ability, your relationship to the unknown, your hearing, your feeling, even your smell, your sense of smell of what brings you alive. Yeah? Those Proustian recollections in our life where we felt alert as a child. Yeah? The more surface area we can bring to bear, the more alive the conversation is.